Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new chapter of Shingeki no Kyojin, or we could call it Attack on Titan, which is on chapter 86. This chapter right here, hell, dude. It is a revelation chapter, information chapter, whatever you want to call it, but this chapter literally is summing up of what became from the very beginning and what it still is to present time in the Attack on Titan universe today. Pretty crazy, honestly. This chapter really revealed a lot of information, and I'm pretty sure it's going to continue going that route until the author deems it worthy where to end it or where to put an end to it. This chapter's really crazy though, man. I'm shocked as hell as my eyeballs just flew out of its sockets and my mouth just dropped, dude. I don't know what's really gonna happen next. But one thing for sure, there's gonna be more info and other kinds of chapters out there later. Because it's now revealing everything that might be giving us a lot more questions, but more answers to come later, possibly. That depends. It's all on the author, you know? Sorry for rambling on for about a minute and 30 or more. Let's just get this recap started. Okay, we do go into Grisha's backstory, and we get to know a lot more information what is happening here. We have to it that Grisha, as a young boy, along with his little sister, I think her name is Faye or something, and they are told to wear some armbands by their mother, you know? And apparently this is where he says, well, this is about my tale, about my life a long time ago, that he becomes to face the truth of what happened in the world, which is something that Erwin wanted to know about in the world, you know? And we have to it that Grisha and Faye are following the blimp, and they end up going outside the walls, which they are not supposed to do, okay? Never go outside the walls, apparently. But Grisha and Faye decides to go for it anyway. Well, Grisha, on the other hand, is at fault for it because, he wanted to go and follow the blimp. But the moment they did that, they end up entering a city what's a little bit, what's a little rough and very ugly. And what I mean by that is, the people around them, the moment they enter outside the walls, they're really hecka cruel. But they end up seeing the blimp at a certain location, and they end up encountering two adults. And that is not good because they ask him, where's your written permission to leave? And he can't find that, and what makes it worse right now is that they end up taking punishment. Well, Grisha takes punishment because of what he just did, you know? And we have to it that Faye is the first one to go home, but that did not become the case. Minor spoiler ahead. And so forth. And apparently, it looks like Grisha talks to this man who kicked his butt about something about an armband, and then something about a kid in Eldian without an armband is sent straight to heaven. And therefore, things kind of gotten out of hand right here because he says something about Eldian or Eldian. I don't know how you want to say it because the translation is a little off from what I'm reading right now or something and so forth. Get sent to heaven or just die. So the moment he got home, her Faye, or however you pronounce her name, was not there. But what makes it worse right now is that her body was mutilated, apparently. And we get to know that the officer said that, I only accompanied her up to Lavelio, you know? Something about Eldian kid or something, which is a very strange term for me to understand because it seems like these Eldians or Eldians, however you pronounce them in a certain way, it seems like there's a dark history behind them, something about the sins of their ancestors, and if they're not learning correctly, they are going to die. And therefore we have to it that Grisha's father decides to tell him that our ancestors are sinners. They are very strict about taking us to freaking heaven or cleansing us out if we do something wrong. even if we didn't do anything directly. The devil's blood runs through their veins. And therefore, he does not understand what the hell is going on here, which Grisha argues back. But his father goes like, do you want us to go to heaven right away with your mother and father that badly? And this is where the real information started to begin, which is really shocking for me because the moment I read the Raw chapter, I knew it might be some kind of story or folktale, you know? I didn't understand the language because obviously I can't read that language. But here from what they started is like a dark part of their history. It started off with Ymir's people, apparently, who had the power of the Titans to decide what happened to the other citizens were inferior and began to oppress them. Apparently, these land assets were stolen and citizens were annihilated, and it seems like this started a long time ago about the ethnic cleansing that lasted for at least more than 1,700 years or so. Almost 2,000 years, if possible. As Grisha's father continues, he talks about like how the past rulers tried to bring down Eldian because they had become way too strong, and they managed to weaken them a long time ago, and they also took control of the 7 out of the 9 Titans that won the 80-year-long Titan War, which is pretty strange to me and so forth in many ways to one, especially to all those manga readers might be going like, what the hell is going on here, you know? But eventually, you know, like as many years ago, we have to it that someone of Ymir Fritz made a deal with the devil. And I mean the devil, to gain powers where the power of the Titans came about. But after that, in Ymir's death, her soul shaped amongst the Titans and Eldian was made. Eldian destroyed the powerful rulers over there and became the rulers of the continent. And therefore, Grisha was feeling nothing but hatred towards his father, and he feels dizzy. And he cursed his own immaturity. And we have to it that the Ymir family suspect the opposite and held a grudge against him. And this is what's happening right now. Because of the Titan power that was given by this girl, Ymir Fritz or something, I think this is where it all started. Apparently, she sold her soul to the devil or something, or possibly made a deal with the devil, whoever that piece of is. But that's how the Titans were made, apparently. But I think there was more to it than that when I tried rereading this chapter millions of times. But eventually, as Grisha continues to grow up, we have to it that we get to learn that King Fritz fled to an island known as Paradis Island. And there was nothing but the royal family that built 3 walls around them. Not everyone was left over there with King Fritz, but the rest of the Eldians were abandoned in Mar or something. As Grisha's father continues his story. But as you see here, there's nothing more than descendants of evil, and he spoke of someone of losing a daughter and then following master's orders and condemned his own ancestors like he was a dog or something. He said something about lying or something that Grisha said, and then he was silenced up by his father. But we also get to know more information about Grisha and his backstory as the chapter continues, as I read. When he was 18, he found his own path in a certain way. And he ends up like meeting a man who has a cross scar. Apparently, we had to it that this man informs Grisha when he was 18 as a doctor that his sister was killed by a mayor officer. We have an informant within the government that told him about this. If you join us, we'll tell you everything. And if you lend your power to the Eldian revivalists. And this is like some kind of group or cult about Eldian revivalists or something. And this is where Grisha's like path of possible madness, or how we want to call it, evil, or some kind of path that might have changed a lot of things, or might have like give us more questions. Starting off, going off where the guy says, if you join us or something, you know, we'll tell you everything. And the moment they try to persuade him to join, they told him everything about his sister and so forth. And we do get to see a picture where, like, I think, like, Faye's sister just gotten chewed up alive by a bunch of dogs. And that's where Grisha decides to become part of the the Eldian revivalist. Apparently, he says, like, I swore I'd teach him which side was truly the devil. What our ancestors did was just in order to bring this world back into balance and to revive Eldian. And we have to it that when the chapter continues, we have to it that the government had something called the Night Owl, as they allowed to carry out certain secret activities, as weapons, money, and historical literature of the Eldians were sent to them. And we get to know that something about the progenitor, Ymir, opened their eyes to the power of the Titans, cultivated lands, made roads, built bridges, and they even brought riches to the people, and developed this content. As they learn about this history and delusions, it seems like they can't fool true Eldians. As they end up reading the text, etc., Grisha, on the other hand, says that he believes in Ymir and we are the chosen children of God, Ymir's people. I'm like, what the hell? Have you gone crazy? But another thing too is that that Night Owl sent another person, and that is someone called Diana Fritz. Something about royal lineage. And the moment they continue, we get to know about the royal family who rejected the idea of fleeing the island at the end of the Titan War and stayed on the continent. And she is the only remaining descendant. But as the chapter continues, we get to know that Eldian will rise to power again, and Grisha making his victory speech about Night Owl's leaked information. It becomes clear that King Fritz's Titan power is lying within these walls, and it's the key to the revival. The progenitor Titan could control all other Titans. If we get this power, we can destroy Mar again. So these Eldian revivalists are trying to destroy a government that's known as Mar or something because of what they've been doing, holding a grudge against the Eldians or something. After reading this chapter and so forth and seeing how the information here, it's all starting to make some connections possibly. But the only question is, how do they get that power or tend to flee? But we get to know that that the King Fritz did not want to fight. And when the Titan War started, the 145th king, when he inherited the power of the progenitor Titan, apparently it spent many years fighting amongst themselves. And therefore, they decided to let me see here, build a wall or something. And that's how all the walls starting to become what it is today, display the progenitor's Titan powers and restore balance to Eldian. And of course, Diana Fritz disagreed with this decision and separated from the rest of his royal family. And that's when miserable times began to arise. But Grisha, on the other hand, tells them that let's stand up and fight. We have to retrieve the progenitor Titan power from the king who fled inside the walls. These progenitor Titan powers, I don't know, but it must be the coordinate they might be talking about. I don't know for sure, but it might have a giant connection. But we have to it that Grisha said that we will return this power to the true royal family who stayed on this continent for the sake of all the Eldians. And therefore makes a speech saying that let's fight to the day that Eldian is revived. But what makes it very strange right now is Zeke, and I mean Zeke, the Beast Titan himself, is the son of Grisha and Diana Fritz. To my greatest shock. I knew there was something involving a child when I read the raw version of it, but to see that Zeke is the child of Grisha and him being the half brother to Eren, holy mother of hell, dude. This is some crazy right here. But we have to it that this child will lead us to victory, and that picture right there is what it is of Grisha, his first wife Diana Fritz and Eldian revival movement, and of course that picture, that photograph, whatever it is. My dear Lord, holy mother stuffings, dude. Zeke, part of that royal bloodline about the Eldians and so forth. But we also get to know something about the Eldians of the Mara government, we'll gather warriors from Ymir's people. Something about announcement from evil King Fritz who fled to Paradis Island. Eldian will rule this world, return this continent to the horrors of the past, and in order to destroy this ambition, we need to grab some warriors sooner or later, like between ages of 5 and 7. But apparently only a few will be chosen right now. This may be a good match for the power of the 7 titans that the Mar possess. Something about the power of the 7 titans or 9 titans whatsoever. A lot of information here, dude. Like, seriously, a lot of information. So we have to it that something about displaying your loyalty to Mar or something, and King Fritz declaring war or something from Night Owl. Apparently, like, the Mar government is starting to make a move, and something about military technology building up in at an alarming pace right now. Sooner or later, the military power will become a demand for more fuel and so forth. Something about Parody Island, deposits of fossil fuels we can't ignore. Conquering Parody Island is not a simple task or something. Although we get to know more information here and there, we have to that King Fritz, who hides behind the walls, he left these words 80 years ago. If you interfere with us again, the tens of millions of titans hidden inside the walls will completely flatten this earth. Something about the titans here and there that has a long history behind it, that is for sure. Something about reclaiming the power of the Prognita Titan. And right now, like, they're trying to wonder what are we supposed to do now. And Grisha believes there's only one way to do it. And they want to make Zeke, the Zeke, and I mean Grisha's son, Zeke, a Mar warrior. And that monkey that Zeke is holding right now, I guess we all know where that came from. And we decide to see to it that they trust the pride to their son Zeke, who will become a Mar warrior, and loyalty to the royal bloodline. But apparently that did not become the case. When Zeke becomes 7 and informed them about the Mar government, about the Eldian revivalists, they were all sent to heaven. But we also get to know that they would be turned into titans who would endlessly wander around Parody Island. So, after all this, in this chapter, the way how it ended off, where Zeke betrayed his parents and everyone else about the Eldian revivalists and so forth, it seems like we get to know how these titans are made and what they were doing, As punishment, of course, they get sent to Paradise Island and they will roam as mindless titans for the rest of eternity. So it looks like to me, like, seeing how, like, the Mar government having these titan powers and making them wander around and knowing what they are after, and possibly the progenitor of the titan power or the coordinate, however you want to, like, connect. But one thing for sure, all this information right now that is revealed is very, very confusing at certain points here and there, but I'm seeing how it all makes certain connections leading to one point to another, and Grisha's backstory, how he became, what became of the history of the Titans and the Eldians, why they are so hated by the Mar government, and then Ymir Fritz, and then how, like, the devil's blood flows in our veins, and then how Grisha joined the Eldian revivalists, made the key Zeke, tried to continue to revive the Eldians, and tried to have Zeke become a warrior and try to make a difference to, like, get that power back, and so forth. Rich's power. Oh, man. This is pretty crazy, man. I mean, literally crazy. I mean, seeing how Zeke is the son of Grisha and so forth. Damn, dude. I do not know what's going to happen. I don't. But something about this power and so forth has a big connection to, It all connects to, like, to one royal blood family and then to another. I don't know, man. But one thing for sure, it's, like, pretty tense, man. I'm very sorry for this video to be very, very long right now. That's for sure. I mean, very long recap and so forth, but seeing how I'm trying to make these connections and so forth, and all this information revealed, wow. I highly doubt anyone's gonna watch this video or something, but if you actually finish it to the end and try to make connections, and even hearing me yammer for too long and so forth, I'm pretty surprised that you even went through it. One thing for sure is, like, I may have to reread the chapter again, make connections, and try to understand it. But one thing for sure, a lot of information is already starting to reveal itself, and hell breaks all loose, man. Seeing how Eldian, it has a big role to play, something about Eldian, and now because like Aaron's Eldian and yada yada yada. Damn, dude. So, got nothing else to say. I'll see you guys in my next video. So, I'm off Mazzito. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, right? Peace out. Bye bye. Toodaloo.